Alright folks, welcome to Mr. Stoika's latest tomato planting video. Today we are going to be transplanting, so we're going to be moving our tomato seedlings, like the one I got here. I'm going to move both of them, even though really only one of them needs to be moved, obviously the big one. The smaller one there could wait a little longer, but since we're going to be moving the big one, might as well transplant them both. So I'll try to move that there so you can see the difference. Alright. Supplies you're going to need. You're going to need a container. I'm going to use this milk carton. You're going to need a pair of scissors or something to cut this container with. You're going to need some water here. Okay, got a little water to water the plant once it's in. This is going to be a scooper for soil. And obviously you're going to need some potting soil. So, first thing I'm going to do is cut the container apart. I'm going to take my milk carton. I want this to be a good 4 or 5 inches deep. So I got a little measurement on my scissors here, so I'm going to go a little more than halfway. Just be careful when you're doing this. You don't want to stab yourself, obviously. Cut it about 2/3 of the way up. Doesn't have to be beautiful. Do the best you can. Keep that straight. A little water left over there. And there we go. Alright, so we got our container. Now, you want to have a little bit of drainage in this thing. So, I'm just going to poke. Be careful here, you don't want to stab through and create a huge hole. So I'm just going to make 2 holes. We just want a little bit of drainage so that any excess water can find its way out, because we don't want our plants sitting in a huge pool of water. Alright, so there we go now. Alright, so I'm going to fill this up about halfway with soil. Make sure you don't fill it all the way up yet. I'll explain why in a second. One thing to point out here, which I didn't really mention, is it's a good idea to cover up your workspace. I got a piece of cardboard here. We'll probably have newspaper for you in the classroom, because obviously this can get a little messy. One thing you should be sure to do is clean up after yourself when you're done. Don't leave a mess behind for me or somebody else to clean up. This is your project, so you should be the one cleaning up after yourself. Alright, now, as you can see, I got about 3 inches of soil in there right now. It's about halfway full. I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to be putting more soil in, but I'm not going to fill it all the way up. The reason for that is that our seedling, I'll try to show you a little better here, but all along the stem, and you'll see this on yours too, at least for the tomato seedlings, they have very fine little root hairs growing on them. Those hairs will become roots. So what you want to do is plant this. I'm going to cover the stem almost up to these 2 leaves here, because these are primary leaves. The tomato plant doesn't really care about those. So I'm going to cover most of this bottom half of the stem with soil, and all those little root hairs then will grow out into the soil and form new roots. Okay, so there's a reason why we don't want to fill that up. We want to have room for our plant. Now, here comes the tricky part. You want to get the tomato plant out without disturbing it if possible. Now, it's a little tricky since I have 2 tomatoes, So I'm going to try, or I have two plants here, so I'm going to try to do this as gently as I can. And the way you do it is get your fingers in there. Try not to pull. You do not pull on the plant. I'm pushing on the bottom. I'm reaching underneath here, and I'm pushing on the bottom here, and I'm feeling it come loose. Now my plant is not super moist at this point, so I'm hoping that it's going to come out. And look at that, we got it out in pretty one good movement here. And looking at the soil here, I can see I have some pretty good roots. I don't know if you can see that, but I can see little roots coming up all around the side here. Now because I have two plants, I'm going to try to split them up here. So I'm gently going to break the soil right here and gently pry this one away, just like so. See how I have hardly disturbed this one at all. So this small one I'm going to set aside for now. I'll plant that in another container later. And my main plant, I'm going to make a little depression here. I'm not packing this soil in tightly, but I'm going to set that right in the middle so it's sitting fairly straight. Alright, just like so. Try to let you see that in there. Hopefully that's visible to you. Alright, and now all I need to do is gently add soil around my seedling. Okay, so I'm going to first dump some in on this side, spread it around. Okay, you can move the plant over a little bit, get it out of your way. Okay, and then I'm going to lightly push the soil down into the space here. I'm just tapping it down in, I'm not forcing it. Okay, you want to get out most of the air if you can, just lightly pushing like you see here. Another reason you want to plant it a little deeper is because that helps support your plant a little bit better too. Okay, so I think we're looking pretty good here. A little more soil maybe. Almost. Okay, you can help settle it like by tapping the container a little bit. And that looks pretty good to me. I'm pushing on the soil, it's not moving too much. Again, you don't want to be pounding on it, you don't want to push really hard on it. Alright, you want to keep it loose, but you shouldn't have air pockets in there. Okay, so once we're done with that, I'm going to take my water and I'm going to start gently shaking in some water. I don't want to dump half a gallon of water in there right away. Okay, I'm going to move the plant over, get it out of the way. What I have here is a water bottle with a couple of holes in it. I know that's probably a little hard to see. But again, just like you've been doing with your other plants, you want to give it some water, let it settle in. Okay, if we have water coming out the bottom, obviously you want to stop at that point. If you have a whole bunch of water, make sure you get that cleaned up. Don't want to leave a mess for the next person to come in. Give it another drink. I'm going to try to get the soil nicely moistened. Remember, the roots are not going all the way down to the bottom yet, so if you don't get the whole thing soaking wet the first time around, that's okay. But that's pretty much it. Okay, so at the end you should have a tomato plant, maybe two. If you have a whole bunch of plants in one and it's hard, you can't get them apart, it's okay to leave them together. But if you can get them apart, try and do that. I'm going to put this other plant right here into a separate container as soon as I'm done getting this one watered in. One way I can tell that this one still needs a little bit more water, by doing this, I can see that there's some separation there, but that's okay. You're going to slowly get it. If you come in the next day and this is dry, you know that you need to put more water in it. Each day you do that, eventually you'll get caught up to it. As long as your plant's not wilting over or falling over or looking like it's dying, you're giving it enough water. Okay, so do that for each of the plants that you have that are ready to be transplanted. Be sure to record in your journal whatever you do. And I haven't put my name on this yet, so I've got a piece of masking tape and a marker or something and get my name on there, so that way I know that it's my plant. And that's it. Good luck. If you have any questions, talk to the teacher. See ya.